Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank weekend preview, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 39 locations throughout the metropolitan New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. It's a great weekend for high school sports. The state championships in volleyball going on at the Pontchartrain Center. Check out SportsNOLA.com for results and coverage of that event. And, of course, the high school football playoffs getting underway this weekend everywhere in the state, including a ton of games locally. And you can check out SportsNOLA.com and our special video preview of the playoffs that Lenny and I have right now. In addition to that, we've got a couple of games that you'll be able to check out via SportsNOLA.com this weekend on the high school playoff level.
That's right. Friday night, Covington, Hahnville, two great running backs and a terrific 5A first-round matchup from down in Booty. And then Saturday night, Division I first round from Joe Yenny Stadium. It'll be Jesuit and Archbishop Rummel. You and Rick Gailey, Easton Roth will have the call of that one, the simulcast of the WGSO radio broadcast. So no other place to beat him right here at SportsNOLA.com. And don't forget that scoreboard. This is the time of year that everybody goes because you really want to know what's going on in those brackets. The best scoreboard in the state, powered by the All-State Sugar Bowl. Check it out.
Looking forward to it. Should be great. As far as college football is concerned, can Tulane win another game? If they are going to, it's likely not going to be this weekend at Houston, where they'll be overmatched, I believe, based on what I've seen.
Well, look, this is a team that has not won a conference game. Houston probably got a little bit too much put on them this year, and now you can almost factor them a disappointment. And, you know, who knows how they respond down the stretch to that. You know, they're probably out of the picture in terms of winning a conference championship, but look, you're still trying to play things out, and it'd be interesting to see. Look, Tulane's been very inconsistent of late. They're really beat up, and they're not a team with a lot of depth to begin with. Yeah, how do they respond this week?
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. LSU, meanwhile, speaking of how they respond, is at Arkansas to face a team that's handled them the last couple of years. It's at Fayetteville. The hangover from Alabama has been there, done that the last few years. How they respond here will largely determine not only where they end up in terms of a bowl game this season, but more importantly, will really tell the fate of Ed Ogeron.
You know what's interesting to me is, you know, on Monday we saw the coaches poll, or Sunday I should say, the coaches poll, the AP poll come out, only dropped LSU about 5 spots, and I really thought based on how they played Alabama, I thought that was about right. I really did. Then the college football playoff top 25 comes out on Tuesday night, and LSU goes from 13 to 24, which really surprised me. And here's the thing about that. The one thing that LSU probably still had to play for is if you run the table, okay, and Auburn loses to Alabama, they've got a chance to probably lose to Georgia as well this week. Now all of a sudden LSU's the second highest ranked team in the SEC, and they're going to the Sugar Bowl. I think now with Auburn and Texas A&M still sitting inside the top 10 and LSU down at 24, of course these are, you know, subjective rankings, but it seems like a big reach for them to be able to get back ahead of both of those teams and perhaps get to the Sugar Bowl. So now you're looking at, you know, something like a trip to Orlando or Tampa or Jacksonville, whatever the case may be, instead of that opportunity.
Yep, no question about it. As for the Saints, they are home against the defending Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos at noon on Sunday. Big matchup for New Orleans. It's a proving ground situation. It's a chance to get over 500 for the first time this year. Sheldon Rankins, Delvin Breaux came back last week. We'll see if they get anybody else back this week. Denver off of a loss in Oakland. The Saints off of a win in San Francisco. This is an enticing football game.
It's going to be a very entertaining football game in my mind, and I really want to see how the Saints respond. After these couple of wins, and look, this is going to be a tough test. And the fact is, you got to play 2 games in 5 days now. And obviously, you don't hold people back, it's not like a back-to-back situation in basketball where you're trying to watch somebody's minutes. You play every game as itself. But don't forget the Saints have that Thursday night game the following week at Carolina. It'll be interesting to see, really you got to group these 2 games as one. And you've made the point of mentioning you need to get a split out of these 2 games. You need to be heading to Thanksgiving at 5-5 with 6 to play, and I think the schedule gets a little bit friendlier in the back half, and then you've got to be able to, to deal with that opportunity, maybe for a division title and a playoff berth. Who knows?
And I have to make sure I don't pop my peas. It's the plight of the Pelicans. Need I say any more?
Sounds like I should be singing a song at this point or whatever. But look, this is a team. They played fairly well Monday night at Golden State, except for the fact that they couldn't stop an unconscious Steph Curry. Okay. And no, it's hard to win on the road in the NBA. So you've got a Thursday night game at Milwaukee before coming home Saturday to play the Lakers. And, the question remains. You guys talked about it Monday on SportsNOLA TV in the hot seat. Is it time to make changes?
How long do you go?
That's a great question. I think you've got to at least consider this at this point. But again, you got to have somebody. You got to have somebody who's ready to step in, whatever change you may make. If it's Alvin Gentry, if it's Dell Demps, if it's both of them, who's coming in that's going to be able to change things? As much as anything else, I think you need to show to your fan base that you haven't given up on the season and you're really trying to make things better as they were. So that's you don't like to necessarily, you like to make moves for the better of the franchise, not necessarily for the fan base, but you've still got 70-something games left in the season, and if you basically say, we're going to stick with the status quo, what are your fans going to think about that?
I agree, and for no other reason, and it's not an indictment of Alvin Gentry. It's the players you have, it's the injuries, and obviously he's not responsible for the roster, and that's a big part of this. Is there an interim guy in New Orleans? Yeah, there's a perfect guy. His name's Mike Dunleavy. Oh, I'm sorry, he's got a job.
By the way, you mentioned college basketball season starts this weekend. LSU, Tulane, UNO, all in action. Tulane with a huge one. North Carolina at the Smoothie King Center Friday night. That's a nice way to start your college coaching career if you're Mike Dunleavy. Of course, he's got a little bit of coaching experience, but that's a heck of a way to jump into it, if you will.
LSU opened earlier in the week, and UNO, you can watch the video. Mark Schlesinger at the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club. They open Friday night. So, basketball's here. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Thanks.
All right, we'll see you Monday.
That's our First NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 39 locations throughout southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great weekend, and God bless you.